Hey everybody, it's Lewis Porter Jr. Just doing a little last bit of things to get this video correct and straight. Of course, welcome to Transparency Agenda Daily on July 18th. Today's topic, as you saw probably when you came in, it's profit margin. Is your life's blood protected? Which is I totally believe in. But before we get all into that, let's talk about some other fun stuff and something I saw this morning that kind of tied in to what we're going to be talking about tonight. So it's kind of a weird coincidence, but just kind of made it perfect for me. Let me see if I can get it, because I want to make sure you all see this was kind of important. One of those cool things. All right, boom. So we're going to be doing a lot today. This week, like last week, was all about art and that kind of stuff. So this week's going to be all about writing. Well, more about the business, but less about writing, but really about the business. So with this whole business aspect we're going to be pointing at, we're going to be talking about a lot of things that are going to be a little more interesting, a little more technical. If you're not a publisher and you're not into economics, you may not enjoy this as much. This part I very much enjoy. I'm a huge fan of the business part like this. This gets me very excited. This just goes back to a lot of basic ideas of how to make money and developing a good business sense and that kind of stuff. So if you don't want me to talk about that, you want to talk about me do something stupid, rants, that'll probably be next week. Maybe. I don't know. Plus this week is, San Diego Comic-Con, so I'm going to talk about that, of course. But this week is really going to be about the business, about making and producing things and understanding how little things can affect you over the very, very long run, and how this will be, important to you as a publisher, because this is about, seriously about one of my favorite personal topics, your profit margin. So, well, we can get started. Okay, well, I'll show you this book in a second. It's a book I've listened to on tape. Screw it, I'll show it to you now. All right, I listened to this book on audio tape a long time ago when it first came out, and I finally got the book. You see, I got some ways to go, but I've had this book for a while and I've read it. I've read it several times. I've listened to it on audio several times. I haven't actually read the physical book, and it's in one of my personal just playlists that I go to. It's a great book. If you've never seen it before, actually, let me tell you the name of the book just in case you didn't see it. It's called Free: The Future of a Radical Price, which I am amazed by Chris Anderson. New York Times bestseller. Also, The Long Tail. So that term, The Long Tail, he's one of the first guys who thought of it. It's a great book to read, and gives you how to use free as a marketing strategy, which I'm 110% behind. I'm a big fan of. So tonight, let's talk about profit margin. Not everybody here knows what profit margin means. Not everybody understands it. Not everybody thinks it is that important, or really doesn't even check on it. But I believe there is nothing more important to a business than your margin, your profit margin. When I first started doing business, I didn't understand that. I really didn't understand what it really meant. And I really when I started watching shows like Shark Tank and, well, from Canada, Dragon's Den, and the UK, Dragon's Den, and even The Profit in the US. And The Profit was really actually fundamental to me really understanding how important the profit, how much of the profit margin just becomes so important. So, and I'd hear people say profit margin. I was like, well, what does that mean? How much money does it make? What does it really count? And then when I really got into the numbers, understood it, and really understood my business better, I swear by it. So, what is profit margin? Basically simple. It's the money you make over the cost to make a product. So let's do a little test here. This is going to be a fun little test. I thought about this all weekend long. It's a really fun test. All right. You have two products for sale. The first product costs you, you're selling it for $5, but it costs you $2 to make. That means you have a profit margin of $3. You have another product that's selling for $15. It's selling for $20, but it costs you $15 to make. That would leave you with a $5 profit margin. Okay, out of the two products I just listed, which product is the better one for you to sell? Now you guys can respond here. You can think about it. I'm going to let you think about it for a couple seconds. Little Jeopardy song going on in my mind. Okay. Now I'm sure a lot of you said $5, right? That's $5. Except in this case, the better deal is actually the sell for the $5, make the $3. because the $3 isn't compared to what the cost of the product is. You know, you're selling for $5, you're making $3 on it. That's a 60%. That's a 60% margin. That's a good. That's an awesome margin. That's a nice thick one. But the other one that was saying, we made it for 20, sold for, we made it for 15, sold for 20. That's only 25%. See, the margin. That's where it is. The margin. Because the more margin you can pull out of a product, the more profitable it becomes to you, and the more money it makes you in the long term. A lot of people just see the $5 and think that's the most important. Get the $5. Get the $5. But that margin is really where the money is made. You know, my thought process has been, I think a lot of people kind of agree, try to get as much margin as you can. I expect any product I make to have at least 30% margin, at least. You know, if I can't work a 30% margin, it doesn't become good for me. It's not a good seller. And there's some products I've made that have done extremely well with a very low margin. Some have done okay with a medium margin. But you want to get as much margin as possible, because that stuff comes back to you. You know, that is your life's blood. I can't repeat it enough. The profit margin is what keeps you alive as a company. And most companies don't think about that. Most companies think about, I made a product for, $10 and I sold it for 12. Look, we're making money. It's like, yeah, that's important. You did make a profit, but you didn't make enough margin where it was important. 20% margin. I thought it's got to be higher. It's got to be higher. If you take your typical comic book, here's a typical comic book that I have, of course. All right, the cost of this bad boy is $2.99. For easy math, we'll say $3. I'm guesstimating, and this is just guesstimating, because I know the industry pretty well, and the regular comic book, it is for $3. It probably they probably made it. We'll use easy numbers. Let's say, because they know they sell to retailers for half the price. So retailers buy this for $1.50 and they sell it for $3. They make half the money. 50% margin, good margin, real simple, easy. DC probably makes those books probably about, I'm gonna take a lame guess, it's 50 cents a book, which I'm sure it's a lot less. But for this one, 50 cents a book. They make 3 times as much the cost. That's a fat margin. That's and once again, that's important. The book says it's worth $3. They sell for 50 cents. They make $1 on each one they sell. You sell 10,000 of those, you make $10,000. All the other costs, and you got $10,000 in your pocket. What are you going to do with that $10,000? That's when margin becomes important. What are you going to do with the money you made on top of what you bought? And we as a community and of RPG fans and RPG business, we don't talk about that enough. What do you do with your margins? How do you protect your margins? How do you make your margins go down? How do you make your margins go down to a point where basically anything you make is profitable? How do you do something that at first doesn't seem very profitable that can be awesomely profitable? I'll give you one of my favorite, profitable moments. It wasn't even my idea. This is not my idea. I stole this from friends, and I'm so glad I did. I think it's a great idea. So back in the day, some buddies of mine from Paradigm Concepts did this thing called spell decks, and I'm going to talk about it right now. They did a little spell deck for what was it, 3.5, and it was a great idea. It's just basically spells and spell decks. Boom, have cards for people to use when they play. Very simple, very easy. When I heard them talking about it years ago, I was like, that's a great idea, man. And I was like, oh, I'm so mad they thought of it first. And some people were trying it, but they really made it professional. They did a card deck, they did the whole thing, they put it out. Boom, they got in the stores. People loved it. And I always told them, I was like, wow, man, I wish I would have thought of that first. I would have done that as a PDF and like this. They're like, well, we did it like this. We thought we'd make some money and we'd see where it goes. So that was that. Flash forward to when Paizo was announcing that they're going to be doing Pathfinder. The first product that came to my mind was like, okay, you got to do spell decks. You got to do spell decks. That is a winning product. It's the best kind of product because theoretically it's really a free product. All the information is readily available for you. All you got to do is convert it to a card, design it, put it out, boom, and that's it. And that's that was it. So I got the information, got it online, took the stuff, made cards out of them, boom, put them as a PDF. And the prices that were relatively cheap because really the only work I had to do was formatting, and that's that isn't that expensive. So we made those. Actually, let me check up the price now. I haven't looked at these cards. Are sold such a long time ago. I haven't really looked. I haven't looked at them in a long time. So let me tell you what much they cost. Maybe I can give you some good ideas of how we did on this. Actually, let me look at the real stuff, the important stuff. You don't want to hear the theoretical numbers. Let's see some real numbers. Let's go to the ones that I know sold very well were our wizard ones, of course, because people like wizards, and we knew they were going to sell well. Boom, product analytics. So this is just RPG Now. This is we're not talking about any of those sites. We're just talking about RPG Now. Spelldex. Sorcerer Wizard. Boom. Let's see. This has been a while, so I might give you some numbers. I might give you some actual numbers, but I'll debate about that. But all right, come on. It's loading up now. Just waiting. So this product relatively was free. It just took my time. Time to do layout, whatever that cost is, what the cost is, whatever. What's going on, computer? Why aren't you coming up? Let me start just in case. So, when they said they were doing it, I thought it was a brilliant idea. Oh, good. All right. Yeah, I can tell you, this is not a big deal. But this is an old product, but this will put it in perspective. All right, so this product, we've sold free and non-free copies, 490 copies of this. The current price we have it set for is $3.99. The average price we sold this for, and this runs the gambit. The average price is $3.20, but at the max, the highest we did for this was $5.99, and the lowest we were sold for was $1. But the average was $3.20. So actually, I was gonna use my calculator, then I forgot. I'm talking on my phone since I'm so used to grabbing that. Let's grab a calculator real quick so you can do some quick math, see some actual numbers, and you go, oh, okay, was this worth it? 429 times 320 equals. This product generated $1,372.80. Minus, of course, you gotta take the cut from RPG Now. They take 35%. So, I should have done that backwards. Clear. Roll forward. They took $480.48. So let me times 329 minus. What did I say for? Sorry. Boom. Not minus. Divide. 5. Oops. 5. So. Damn computer. This episode you when you forget how to do math. This is important. 0.65. Clear. See? Whew. It's happened you're typing too fast, not thinking it all the way through. Times 5. $892.32. That's what we made off the product. Now, that's one set of cards that we did. And that's the PDF. This isn't even printed material. This is just PDF. Yeah. We made nearly $900 on a product that cost me nothing. It cost me time. Was my time worth this? Of course. Because we moved, the important part, we moved 429 units of this. And that's of today. And this product's been available since. Let's see the actual date, if we can get a date when this one was released. So you can put this in perspective. And once again, this is, these are all important facts that play into doing this. Like, here's a great one. Every day, on average, since the original conception, we get 13.4 people visit this product a day, which is 407.9 per month. Now, here's where it gets kind of interesting, or at least in my view, because this goes back to the whole profit margin. And this is a silver seller on RPG Now, so you can kind of figure out price just from that. And remember, this also sold on several different sites, so you can check this out. This is just RPG Now and drive-through, but RPG Now we're just talking about, so you can get a good perspective. This product usually sells one every 70.3 views. So think about that for a second. We get 13.4 views a day. You know how many views that is, so let's say 15, so we'll do some quick math. 15, 30, 45, 65, boom. Every 5 days we sell one. Now we sell it. Well, right now it's selling for $3.99. It could be cheaper, it could be lower, something could happen, but let's figure still it's $3.20. And it keeps selling. It keeps selling forever. It is the long term to the extreme. this will sell for as long as it can. And this has been up selling every day since June 15th, 2010. So that's 6 years. Over 6 years this thing's been selling. Just ticking away. Money coming in. And that's kind of, and the profit margin just gets bigger and greater for me because it keeps selling. And I've done all the hard work on it. I did the initial hard work. I did the layout. I did it. Boom. I did it back in 2010. Where was I? I guess I was, at home. This is right after I got married, basically. Right after I got married, or when I was doing my first year of marriage, I put this thing together. And remember, this is just one out of these several ones. Let's see how many ultimate decks, ultimate spell decks. Okay, and this is the most popular one, of course. Let's see how many spell decks actually. I can't even remember anymore. These are so old to me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, all Sinex. 23. So that's 23. And that's not including the bundles we've done. We've done also bundles. We have like a bundle right now. You can get the Ultimate the Ultimate Spell Deck bundle, which includes Bard spells, Cleric spells, Domain, Druid, Paladin, Ranger, and Sorcerer and Wizard. All for, is this on sale? I guess it's a sale price we put it at. The bundle itself normally would be like $21.93 if you bought it normally. You can buy it now for $10.50. Once again, it's a great price for the bundle. It's basically there's savings of 50%. Who wouldn't turn down all that? All I can get spell decks and all from the original campaign book and PDF. I get to cut them out and it's done. It's an easy sell. It's an easy sell that works all the time. And the margins on this are awesome. So when you're thinking about margin, think about how can you maximize your work to get the best margin. Because really, like I said, it's about that margin. Try to get the best margin you can. If you get a 50% margin, 60% margin, that's going to change your company's project. It's just going to... See, I'm getting a little excited about this because people don't... you don't really... When you first start making money in this industry, I remember when I first got started with this, money was coming in. I told people, my first time I made $50 in a month, I got really excited. But I didn't understand really what that meant in the long term for me. If I had a better understanding, I think I'd be an even more profitable business. And my business is very profitable, don't get me wrong. But I think I would have really done some stuff to make it even more so. And it's looking back, the money that we spent learning was worth it. But at the same time, I could have improved my margin a long time ago. So, a lot of people get this whole mindset of how much the product costs, if we have the price of the print. I just go with the math. I just go with the simple math of how do I make the most money out of it that doesn't make it non-desirable for people, And then we give people other options. Like, for example, the spell decks, I always tell people this is a good product to do. And you know what the average money sell price we made it for. But I do big sales. I do 2 big sales a year normally. We do our Black Friday sale that runs Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then we usually do GM Day. On the Black Friday sale, anything that's $5, or is it $5 now, or $4 and under, we just put it $1 because we want the sale. I'd rather lose the big super margin on that just to get the sale for a new customer. But I know it's 1 day or 3 days really. People will come out, they're going to spend more than they normally would. It's also a way to turn them into potential customers down the line for future products, but it gets them interested. And I'm going to blow the margin for that. I'm going to blow that margin. But am I really? Because, like I said, I've already paid for a lot of these products already. I'm just selling the profitable piece, Even though, this might be a 6% margin here, now it's only going to be 10. But it's 10 for like 3 days. I'll take the 10 margin for 3 days. But I've gotten myself a new customer, and like I said, potentially they'll come back and buy some more stuff from me, and the margin basically goes back up to what it was. So that's an important factor. I think that as publishers and people who produce products, we have to look at the margin as being the most sacred thing possible. Because that margin is what's going to keep you alive long term, Or in some cases, you know, if you don't do it right, you can easily be dead in a week and a half. And there's tons of companies that just put out products and they don't think about this kind of stuff. They don't think about pricing. They don't think about why a product costs this. What can the market bear? I mean, there's tons of factors. And, you know, all these economic classes, people are like, oh, you're rolling your eyes. This is so boring, Lewis. Why would you talk about this? This is incredibly important. There are tons of people just putting out product. And sometimes they can't tell you if they're profitable or not. They say, oh, yeah, I'm making money. But are you profitable? Are you making real money? Is it good money? And this goes back to, you know, the price of books and what they cost and how much it costs to develop. A lot of us don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. And a lot of us just, you know, I made money. That's all. Money came in. I'm good. But you don't know if you're really good. You think you're good. You think your company's doing well, but really it's not. You're always wondering, wow. You see a lot of times, I've noticed even more so. People put out products and they do a Kickstarter. And they do kind of well. And they do more Kickstarters. And the Kickstarters kind of drop in numbers and people like that. I believe it is kind of diminishing returns, and it does happen. I mean, it happens in anything. But I think this is very interesting that people think Kickstarter's their way. They can kickstart their way to success. I think you can kickstart your way to success if you built a long-term plan. I mean, there are a lot of people just trying Kickstarters now. It's like, rather bet, oh, I'm going to kickstart my project. And it kind of feels like, to me, it's like, well, people don't even know if they like your product, if your product's any good. You got to find a reason to get them interested. You know, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Give your first product away for free. You know, give away for free. Let people test you out for free. If they like you, they're going to buy more. If it sucks, they're going to tell you it sucks, and you can fix it, and you can up it and still make it better. But you don't have to, like, when you're that new, anything you do really kind of doesn't matter. You just try whatever. Try whatever. Toss it against the wall, see if it sticks. Oh, excuse me. Because at that point, you're just trying. You're just trying anything to see what's going to happen. And at that point, you know, work on that margin. Find the margin that's best for you. Find what you would need to be. If you need to make a 50% margin, figure out a way to make books for that price. Okay. Let me give you guys a perfect example. We put a call out for writers. 2 cents a word on a project. It's going to be 2,000 words. That's $40. We're doing for undefeatables. 2 cents a word, 2,000 words, $40. People are like, oh, that's not enough money. You need to give them more money. Let me show you some quick math. It'll make you cry your eyes out. So I'm going to need my calculator again because this is going to be some fun stuff. All right. Like I told you, the writing part costs $40. Now we got to get an editor. An editor will be about 2 cents a word also. So that's another $40. So it's $80. This thing doesn't have any art, so I don't have to worry about that. Already out of the gate, just out of the gate, I spent, $80 on this. $80. And you're like, I don't know if I like that. Well, yeah, it's not the greatest feeling, but that's what it is. Now, what is RPG's now cut? So whatever I sell, they're going to take 35%. So you have to figure that into the cost. So let's see. Remember how to do my math, right? 80 by... No, that is not right. So, let's say 80. Yeah, do it. 80. 135 plus. So for me, on this product, total cost, including the 30%, for me to generate $80 worth, $80, just $80, that's it. I've got to sell $108 worth of product just to get $80. And it's like, wow, man, that kind of sucks. Yeah, it does kind of suck. But it is what it is. Oh, actually, my math is a little off on that. Yeah, but you can see where I'm going. So, when I'm pricing this, I've got to figure, okay, I'm going to sell it for $2. Okay, that sounds like a pretty fair price. 2,000 words. It's about 4 pages, 5 pages. It's not really long, but it's like $1.89, $2. But really, I'm selling it for $1.30. Because RPG Now has got to take their cut, which is 35%. 70 cents. So if I want to sell, let's just say I want to, say $100. No, it's not. Yeah, $100. If I just want to sell $100 worth, and they got to take their cut. It's just, it goes back to this. They got to take their cut. It's always the same thing. If I sell $100 worth, they're gonna take 35. Oh, connection's weak. They're gonna take 35. That's only $65 I made on that. That's 100. Now, before I totally forgot to say this, 100 units is a great seller at RPG Now. 100 units is a great seller. Now remember, I'm only making, these are $2 a pop. So when this thing's all said and done, let's say I move 100 units. Let's just say I make 100 units. $130 is what I'm going to make on that. That's with 100 units at $2 a pop. Not enough margin in that. It is what it is. It's just not enough margin. That's a low hanging fruit that's going to take a long time to make money. When I first got in here, the industry, the acceptable price per page you charge for PDF was like 10 cents a page. That was reasonable. People didn't seem to have a problem with that. That number's gone up, as I've seen lately, as high as like 25 to 35 cents a page. And that's a full color page I'm talking about. I'm not talking black and white. Well, black and white, still fluctuates. But 10 cents a excuse me, 10 cents a page is what people, are kind of expecting to pay. That's not a big issue to pay. It's just, once again, it's back to the margin. How much margin can you squeeze out of this? And how many different ways can you help save yourself money in the long run? Jesus. I eat peanuts and now I got this freaking cough in my throat. It's driving me crazy. So, find ways to save money. And one of the top ways to save money and save that margin, stock art. When you're new, find stock art. Find free stock art. Find stuff that's, public domain. Do whatever you can. Keep those costs down. Because the lower the costs are, the more money you can make for yourself. I've said it many times on this post, but it's just it is that serious. That kind of money can save you tons and tons of stuff on the long run, and you kind of need that, to survive. So that's about it. Yeah, like I said, I knew this was gonna be a lot of boring stuff for a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people are like, "Why did he talk about that for so long? It's so dull." Yes, but it's important. It's important to understand, how important it is for you as a business person. And this is what we're talking about. This is one part of the business that people don't really talk about. They don't talk about the margin. They don't talk about that kind of stuff because it isn't exciting. It isn't sexy. There's nothing to it. It is just basic economics and, finding ways to get involved with that. It's important. It's important to know, but at the same time, it is boring as all get. But that's just me. I like that kind of stuff. So that's me. All right, so this week I'm going to continue on with some more boring stuff. You're like, oh, God, Lewis, that was so boring. Well, this one's going to be a fun one. Tomorrow, I'm selling commissioned art wheel. Yeah, Jacob's correct. Stock art is a great way to sell and save money on both ends. The artist can get his work out there relatively inexpensively, and the publisher gets good pieces of art that they couldn't afford at more dollars. It's a kind of a win-win, and it's agreeable win-win. So, yeah, I always promote stock art. As I tell people, find ways to save money, and that's as important. All right, so tomorrow I'm going to have a real controversial topic, so you can get all wound up about it now. So I've been thinking about this one for a long time, and I kept saying, what would be a topic that would interest people during this week of the business stuff? And I said, it'd be a cool topic because I've never actually done it, and I've always wanted to do it online. I think people would like. Let's take a company. Let's take a look at a company, examine them as a company, and let's find ways that we can, as another publisher, come at them and basically destroy their business and take their business model. That's right. So tomorrow, we're going to have a lovely, I'd say investigation on a well-known third-party publisher. We're going to go in. We're going to look at their products. We're going to look at their sales. We're going to do some extrapolating because you don't know all the facts, so you got to do some extrapolating. And we're going to figure out ways that we as publishers can put ourselves in to, I don't use the word go after because that's not the proper thing to say, but to look at them and find out where their weaknesses are and where we can exploit their weakness to make profit for us. That's right. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. So I want you to think about, what you'd like to ask questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions as always. Either leave them here or leave them on YouTube or send me an email. So yeah, what third-party publisher, because I know the one we're talking about. I've done the research already, so this is going to be great. I mean, I'm not going to tell you, it's exciting. So you guys talk about it among yourselves. Constructive criticism by way of You can call it constructive. I think it's going to be very, very constructive. I think people are going to be amazed how much stuff they didn't know. And I think a lot of people who are publishers would like to see, there are some publishers out there going to be like, oh, I didn't know you're going to talk about some other people. Let me see what's going on here. Let me see where somebody's weak, where I might like to make a profit, where I might make some money. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to talk about some poor third-party guy. Nothing personal. This is business. Business is business. And we're basically going to rip their business apart and get it down to the studs and find out how we can make money on it. Ooh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see when you guys find out who it really is. That's going to be interesting. So that's it. I'm going to go drink some water for this cough, and I'm going to put this up right now. And as always, thank you all for your support, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Have a good night. Oh, yes, and always make sure when go here, when you're watching this, go to YouTube, subscribe. It's very important. Subscriptions are very important on YouTube. We need as many as we can get. Thank you so much. Talk to you all later.